All right, stop. Just stop right there. Everyone is expecting me to give you a ticket because you're in violation of all the quarantine laws. It's Officer George Gross. And I gotta tell you, I'm having a very difficult time with the constitutionality of these quarantine acts. Frankly, I find that it's grating to me because I feel like there's been too many altercations going on, too many times the police are getting blamed for what the politicians have put into play. We're supposed to enforce their quarantine, and yet, as a police officer, I have to uphold the highest laws. And the highest laws to me are it's time to perhaps arrest a lot of people who aren't just the general population. They're more likely, people who are, well, I still have my badge, so I still have to watch my ass. All the same, if I took off my badge and I was, one of the people in the street, I'd pretty much be looking to see who the hell is behind all this bullshit. Who the hell is? Why do I think it's bullshit? Pretty much, I am my own best interest person. In other words, is this really good for me? And not as a police officer, but I know as generally a private person. Is this good for me when I've got people who really aren't very smart deciding that they're going to start calling the police on their neighbors because the neighbors are out in the backyard and they think somehow, the neighbors shouldn't be in the backyard. They should be, I don't know. That's the way it seems to me. It seems to me that that's where it's going. It's basically the rat squad. Who are you going to rat out next? And I don't want to tell you about all these big wheels, these enormous. I don't know where to start, It just seems like there's a lot of people profiting off of this quarantine. And it was the largest drop in the stock market since the 1930 crash. And then what happens when it crashes? People buy low. So they crashed the market so people could buy low. But people are going to buy. Well, who's got money? Well, it's not too many, regular men in the street who are going to buy low. It's the ones who already got lots of money. So you crash the stock market. That's a huge motivation for doing it. Creating a. Who else benefits? Anybody who's in these pharmaceutical vaccine companies, anyone who's making these medical masks, computer companies that are coming up with apps to track you and then report you to me, Officer George Gross, that you somehow were doing something wrong. I don't want to tell you that in my instinct, I think we have got some really dirty people, and they're not the man in the street. The dirty people are people in these bioweapons labs and people who own stock in these bioweapons companies. And, you got to follow the money. Who's making the money off of this thing? You probably have, I bet if you were to go and look at what they're charging on national news for a advertising spot, I bet you they're charging more now because there's more people watching the news. So I wouldn't put it past mainstream media to be complicit in making another great big thing to make everybody look at the mainstream news 24 hours a day. I think there's an incredible amount of hard luck going around.